Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight, I am Brett the Jet here with Turn 3 Racing Network, bringing you the racing action. That's right, it is the Checkered Flag Auto Supply Scrambler Series here tonight at the short track, one of the shortest tracks on the schedule. That's right, the trucks here take on Kern County. This should be a wild one here, folks, as these guys will try and survive 150 laps around this kind of bull ring, kind of sweeping track. It's very, very different as these corners very wide, but we'll see guys in the, let's say, first or second groove. So we will have to see which ends up prevailing with the tire wear and whatnot, because it's going to be a good one here for 150 laps here tonight as we wrap up practice. Let's take a look at the timing boards. Of course, last week we saw Max Terriot extend his winning ways, picking up another win last week with the Xfinity cars at Rockingham. So kind of a short track combo. We'll have to see how he can do tonight, as he does sit atop of the boards with an 18.36, but the guys in the top five just separated by less than half a tenth. So a lot of good times here in qualifying. We'll throw them up here just a second on the left side of your screen. But Max Terriot, best in qualifying. Will he try and go two in a row? We'll see. But first, we got to head over to some qualifying. That's right, folks. We'll let these cars single car qualifying, best of 2 laps, and we will see who can put it on the pole, walk away with a little bit more confidence when it comes around to race time. Looking at the 01 machine of Richard Murdoch, we'll see what kind of laps Murdoch can do here in qualifying. As the 01 gets up to speed, we'll see him get off of pit road there safely. Has to stay on the apron till that blue line, so something we may have to think about. Green flag pit stops maybe here tonight, and that pit road definitely can be very treacherous with how small it is. But the 01 machine of Richard Murdoch is on the clock. He'll sail it down in turn number 1, keep those right sides right on that dash line. Down the back stretch he comes for the first time here through 3 and 4. Lap number 1 just about to be complete, and as you guys can tell, very quick lap times here around the Kern County Speedway. Murdoch goes to the top with an 18.49 as we see him get loose and get contact to that inside wall lap number 2. So he's got to hope lap number 1 sticks for the 01 machine, but right now one of the better laps. Let's take a look at it, buddy, here. Lap number 1 in the books. That's is for the 39 machine of Roger Muth. You guys used to his voice here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Now get to see some race from the 39 as big time sideways, letting his inner dirt driver out, and luckily keeping that car clean. We'll try and get it up to speed, but not the qualifying effort that 39 machine wanted, as we see now the Liquid Molly 38 machine of Brandon Feeney. He's going to try and get that thing up to song and see what kind of lap Feeney can do here. Feeney through 1 and 2 for the first time, and sideways for the 38 machine. He will do exactly what Murdoch did, so this might be something we got to keep an eye on when it comes race time, as it seems like these trucks really struggling to get off of turn number 2, as now we pick up the 61 machine. This, of course, piloted by Dalton Williamson, so we'll see what Dalton can do as he takes the green flag here in his qualifying attempt. As Williamson good enough for a great lap. Not quite good enough for the pole, but good enough for the front row as he puts in an 18.40, good enough for P number 2. And I believe that is most the cars have done a lap. I think, oh, actually, we got one more driver out here on track. That's a 31 turn 3 machine of Donald Bennett. As Bennett lap number 1 will be his lap in 18.79 as once again another truck succumbs to that tricky turn 2. So I have a feeling we will be seeing drivers very much struggling with this. And I talked to these drivers a little bit pre-race and they all said this setup very loose. So usually with these trucks, you got to keep that right front underneath you because these things usually have a lot of downforce and can kind of be right front dependent, but we may see some drivers taking care of that right rear here tonight as it is proven very difficult here on cold tires. As it looks like no one else, is Michael Trevarthen good enough, I believe, for P number 8. So yeah, here we go, folks. Qualifying in the books. Max Theriault, best time in practice, best time in qualifying. We'll see if he can do the 3P here when it comes for now 150 laps as we got to go now down trackside and go through tonight's Celeratus Legal starting lineup. Leading the field to green, we mentioned him before, you'll hear him again probably a little bit here during the race. The 42 machine from Max Theriault to his outside, the 61 of Dalton Williamson. Row number 2 to the inside will be the 86 machines of James Skelton. And then to his outside of row number 2 will be the 12 of Eric Stout. Rolling off P number 5 will be Ethan Troutman in that 62 machine. And Sean Single in the 4X race, and number 11 will roll off 6th. 7th going to Jeffrey Souza in the number 4 machine. And Michael Trevarthen in the 2 will roll off 8th. 9th going to Josh Buckley in that 13 machine. And rounding out the top 10 will be the 01 of Richard Murdoch. Starting back in P number 11 will be the 81 machine of Ken Allen. To his outside, the 17 of Tim Combs. Then we head down to 13th, and in the inverse number of 31 is 13, and that is where Donald Bennett in that 31 machine will be starting, with Ryan O'Danny in the 98 machine rolling off 14th. 15th going to Roger Muth in that 39 machine, was Chris Hammett in the number 6 rolling off 16th. 17th will be the 38 Brian Feeney machine, and to his outside, Rob Higgins in that number 40. Then back in 19th, almost the last row, rolling off in the 30 Ford F-150. That is Bob Higgins. To his outside will be the 3 of Tony Strano. And then starting shotgun on the field tonight, back there in 21st position will be the 15 of Peyton Johnson. So that will do it for the Celeratus Legal starting lineup here tonight. Alrighty, folks, getting ready to rock and roll. That is right. These drivers, some of them may have circled it on their schedule. I know some people were not excited to try and go around some trucks here, but it is the wave lap. That's right, for your local short tracks. These drivers giving you a wave on back, because next time by, we are turning them loose for 150 laps. And if I was a betting man, I would say most of these trucks won't look the same by the time this checkered flag falls here tonight. Here we go through 3 and 4. iRacing pace car down on pit road. To the green flag we go. Max Terrio on the loud pedal. The field will dive it down into turn number 1 side by side. Dalton Williams sticking to the outside. Now finds a gap. He will slot into second. Eric Stout third. Skelton fourth. Sean Single first car side by side here for fifth. So Single trying to roll the outside in this number 11 Cartoon Networks machine down to his inside is Ethan Troutman. His Single gets big time sideways. That shoots Troutman out of line and he will lose a lot of spots. Luckily, that truck not more damaged as we saw how difficult it is to get off of turn number 2, but Single now losing a spot to Trevarthen as maybe more. Single this time will go around on the backstretch. So Single having those hot tires did end up biting them off at turn number 2. And folks, we saw this a lot here, especially in qualifying when it came down to trying to just push these trucks to the absolute limit. Very difficult to get off of turn number 4 as we take a look at the cause of our first yellow. That is the 11 of Sean Single going around here. And yeah, you can see that banking kind of very quickly levels on out. And if you got too much wheel in the truck, worried about getting that wall to the outside, that you can break the tires pretty easily on the rears, and once that happens, it is game over. You're going for a ride and just hanging on and hoping you do not hit that inside wall, because these walls, even though it seems like some pretty good gap with the speeds they're running, you can hit the wall with a ton of force very quickly. Alrighty folks, so under the first yellow flag here tonight, a 1-car spin. Looks like a few takers down pit road, probably just to top on off on the fuel, save some sets of tires here, as it looks like we had about 5 cars visit down on pit road. As out in front, we get ready to do it again here, folks, as we will re-rack them, restack them. Front row still the same from the start. Max Terrio leading the way. Dalton Williams going to try and hang on that outside. iRacing pace car will make the hard left-hand turn down pit road. Now the 42 in control of the restart here. We'll wait a long time. We'll jump on it. This is the restart Williams needed, because they go side by side down into turn number 1. Williams will have the better drive off of here off of turn number 2. They will drag race down into turn number 1, and it looks like Williams might be, taking care of his stuff, just looking for a gap to the inside that he finds off of turn number 4. As further on back, James Skelton going to try and make a move as we get another yellow flag here tonight. We're going to try and pick up where it was, and looks like a slow moving 39 machine on the front stretch. It may have involved Roger here, as looking off of turn number 4. Yeah, it looks like that back end of that 39 machine just stepping out on that race car. Luckily, not too hard of a hit to that inside wall. but will probably be a little bit damaged. So he'll probably come and get some optional repairs, get back out on the speedway, and continue racing, because so far only single car spins bringing out the first 2 yellows here tonight. So it looks like 1 car down pit road. That's the number 30 machine, and we'll try and get a good shot of it here, maybe in 3 and 4 this time. But this pit road, if we have to go 2 green flag pit stops here tonight, it is very difficult to get on into, because it's kind of on the apron. Then if you look to the left just there, you can see it kind of kick inwards for a second, and then you got to make a very kind of hard late turn to not hit the barriers, because if you follow the arc of the corner, you'll just hit head on into the barrier. So driver's gonna have to be weary of that. But at this rate, we'll be hitting under the yellow flags, but I'm sure we're just getting the jitters out of them. These tires, very difficult to fire on off these truck tires. Very, very difficult to get hooked on up, especially the rears at the starting laps. If you ever driven laps around Iowa Speedway or anything like that, you know these things are a handful the first couple laps till you get at least the rear tires up into temp, because these things have enough front end downforce and grip that you can sail it into turn number 1. The limiting factor, definitely those rear tires. As we head back to green flag here, Terrell, again, a pretty even start for the front row as we see him dive down into turn number 1. Everyone so far looking all right. Don't want to jinx anything, but here we go off with turn number 2. Still some great racing around the speedway here. Battle for the race lead. This time Williams says, I'm not looking to get down on the inside lane. I'm looking for the race lead. So here we go. Williamson up top. Terriot down low. Williamson with the run. He's able to shut the door right in front of Max there. Max having to check on up, and Eric Stout in the 12 right behind, getting into the back bumper. So Dahlin making a late move there, but making it stick, as he will be our new race leader. James Skelton gonna try and duplicate what he saw the 61 do and try it on the high side here. So Skelton off at turn number 4 will clear the 42 machine. Now the question is, how hard does Williamson and Skelton race each other, because both of them seem like they're saying it's go time. So at that point, it's like, who's going to be the one to give back at this point, because it's still way too early, let's say, to be racing super hard for position. But don't look now, because already closing in on 20 laps down, and with under 20-second laps, I tell you what, these trucks are hauling around the Kern County Speedway, and this race will be over before you know it. So it's all about that fine line, that balance and act that comes into every race weekend. These drivers having to prepare, trying to come in with a game plan and stick to it, as we see the 12 machine Eric Stout way out of sorts. Now some more out of sorts as Michael Trevarthen beating on the back bumper. Man, oh man, these guys going at it. As what a save by Stout to not only hang on to that truck, but keep the 2 machine behind. As we see the 2 machine really trying to get around the 12. He got on it a little bit too hard, lit up those rear tires, and we see that by a lot of guys. So maybe it's paying off at this point. Take care of your stuff just that little bit and make sure it's good going towards the end, as believe Ryan O'Danny, I think a few laps ago, some smoke on the backstretch. This 98 machine out of sorts. Luckily, doesn't look too damaged, but that guy definitely hoping for a yellow flag. As here we go, battle for P number 4 here, as Trevarthen does get around Stout for that 4th position. Now Stout gonna have a very fast Souza behind him in that 4 machine. So now Jeffrey Souza trying to do what he just saw the 2 machine do. And it seems like these guys very much protecting, let's say, exit on off. These guys making sure that even if they come in the middle of the speedway, trying to get that straight run off low to prevent a guy from diving on underneath. We can see guys kind of run the middle to the bottom side and kind of leave this bottom side open, but be able to have a run, let's say, when it comes corner exit. And that's what they're definitely focusing on. As we see Richard Murdoch now losing a couple spots, first to Buckley, now maybe to Ken Allen, as Allen gets big times out of sorts. So that's kind of right there how you can defend from this on this top side, is you get a lot better traction on corner exit, especially if that driver to your inside just getting a little too antsy, a little bit too much up on the wheel and jump on that loud pedal just a split second too early. It's so easy to do that they light up these rear tires and it's game over. So some good racing through the field. I like to see it, as battle for the race lead here. James Skelton putting the pressure to Dalton Williamson. Let's ride on board with Williamson, looking back here at our 2nd place driver. Oh, you heard Williamson get loose there, being stuck on that bottom side, and that allows Skelton now to head and try and get the advantage. Yes, he will, as Skelton, new race leader in the 86 machine. He will take it on over from Dalton Williamson, and you can see the fall off here already over a 1.5 seconds fall off compared to their fast lap. So these tires going away in a hurry here, folks. As last time by for Skelton was about 0.2 quicker than Williamson, and about 0.5 quicker than Max Terriel in 3rd. So it does seem like Williamson might have used up his stuff a little bit too much early, because he is not keeping pace with our new race leader, James Skelton. Further on back, one guy on a mission. Did not put in a qualifying lap, but has been putting it in the work here during the race time. Up already 11 spots in the top 10 for the first time here tonight. That is Peyton Johnson in this lime green number 15 machine. He's looking pretty sporty here, but now here is where the challenge is. Once you get in that top 10, so difficult to pass cars, and especially now, even if you saved at the beginning, your tires have definitely equaled out to the cars around you trying to get around that many cars. So we look a little bit further out around the speedway. Out in front, top 5 update. James Skelton leading the way. Dalton Williamson running in 2nd. 3rd going to Max Terriel in the 42, with Michael Trevarthen in the 2 up into 4th. And Eric Stout rounding out the top 5 here, and then a little bit of gap to our 6th place driver, Josh Buckley. So top 5 kind of checked on out here for the first 5th of this race, let's say. Oh man, I like to hear that, Jeremy. Some good victory celebrations if Murdoch picks up the win. Right now, he's looking pretty good. Finds himself inside the top 10 here tonight, up 3 spots from where he started. Currently running in the 7th position. 2nd car in this 2nd pack out on the speedway, trying to slowly reel in these leaders, because I bet this 2nd pack took it easy after that 2nd restart and really backed it on down, as one car rolling slow on the front stretch. That's the 39 machine of Roger Muth. We stay green flag racing here. So like I was saying, yeah, this is probably the group we have to keep an eye on lap time. They're still a little bit behind the leaders, but you got to wonder, are they playing the long game, or maybe they used up their stuff? It would be hard pressed for me to think about, as guys in front of them about 2 seconds to this pack. One of the closer battles forming up on the Raceway. Dalton Williamson handling, definitely looking like it's going away on that 61 truck, as he has moved up one of the highest trucks in the corners here. So that tells me his right front isn't too happy with him. Maybe pushed a little bit too hard to start this race off, because here comes Max Terriel to give the 61 some pressure for second. 40 laps coming up in the books here tonight at Kern County. Scheduled distance a $150 here, so these drivers definitely getting a lot of good data of how these cars are feeling, especially as we continue to go into the long runs. I'm sure not too many people practice with this weather setup, as you can see here tonight at the Kern County Speedway. Very, very dark here, a lot of clouds here, so this is probably proven a lot of speed into the corners, but not a lot of grip once the line heats on up. So hopefully we'll see some guys moving on around the speedway. Heating on up here for 7th, 8th, and 9th. We'll keep an eye on this battle here for a few laps. Watching here on the speedway, looks like, oh, one car going around. It's the 01 machine of Richard Murdoch. Luckily, man, who was that? I believe the 17 machine of Tim Combs. An awesome evasive maneuver, because I don't think that 01 machine got any damage. Yeah, he was involved in this third yellow, but man, that could have been a lot worse. We got to ride on board with this 17 machine, see what he saw, because wow, what an evasive maneuver by this Hooters number 17 of Tim Combs. You can see the contact there between Payton and Murdoch. And then look at Tim Combs. Wow, just got out of the way as that 01 machine started sliding down the speedway. Luckily, he was able to get the nose kind of out of harm's way. But man, some great heads-up driving as we see a very, very busy pit road here under the third yellow. Everyone probably taking at least full fuel. The question is, do we see any takers on 2 tires? Looks like no. Most guys taking, it looks like 4 tires and filling it up with the virtual Sunoco race fuel. Is actually, I was just kidding, he's still out on track. I was hoping we'd see a different taker, but no real shakeups in the order from pit road here. So now a lot closer to the third of the way mark. Still only half the distance we've gone is only half of what we still have to go. So a little bit of input here tonight for these drivers on the tire wear, but they will have to manage a lot more if they want to even think about going the distance for this last 100 laps. As Jeremy, you said it best, a big oof for the 01 machine of Murdoch. Receiving some contact there in turns 1 and 2, but that could have been a lot worse for the 01 machine. Luckily, he didn't lose all the spots nor have any damage. He's able to slap some fresh tires, stay with the pit cycle. It looks like we'll restart back in the 14th position, so at least not back outside the top 20. One guy I want to keep my eye on for this restart is this 42 machine of Max Terriel. Will restart on the top side. That's where he got passed last time by the 61 machine for the race lead. So we'll see if Theriault will do the same or maybe take it easy, as we saw him definitely saving tires that first run. As no, actually Skelton will change all that. Everything I was talking about pretty much goes out the window with Skelton electing the outside here. Skelton saw that restart, so he will choose the outside. We'll see how that works out for this 86 machine, as lights are out around the Kern County Speedway and on the iRacing pace car. That means we are going back to green flag racing right here, folks. Through turns 3 and 4, the field will come. James Skelton on the top side, leading the field to green. Max Theriault having to react. Theriault with an awesome jump on that inside lane. He will get the advantage, almost get clear of Skelton here into turn number 1. Side-by-side battle for the race lead. It is a drag race down the backstretch. Theriault will throw that 42 machine in deep. He will get clear of Skelton. Theriault says, "Thank you very much for letting me restart on the inside lane. I'll go take this race lead and try and check on out." So Theriault back to the point. Skelton in second. Williamson in third. Trevarthen and Stout. Side-by-side battle here. We saw a little bit of bumper tag between these two of them earlier in this race, but I don't think that is at the top of their minds at this point, as now here comes Josh Buckley to join in the mix here, battling for a shot inside of the top 5. One car almost in the wall off of turn number 2. That's the 4 machine of Jeffrey Souza. Souza almost getting a piece of it, luckily able to yank it around. Is one car going around here in 3 and 4. That is the 38 liquid moly machine of Brandon Feeney. So Feeney bringing out this 4th yellow flag here tonight. We're going to take a look at the turn 3 replay, see if he got some help at some point. As Feeney heads down the backstretch, has Rob Higgins to his outside. Looks like Richard Murdoch looks to the inside. As Feeney just maybe having a little bit too much rear brake. Gets the back end to step out, locks it up a little bit more to prevent the spin, and that leaves Richard Murdoch nowhere to go. He will make hard contact to the rear bumper of the 38 machine. So Murdoch's race is going from bad to worse here. I hate to break it to him. Here we ride on board with the 01 machine, and as you can tell, barely any time to react. We're going to go try and see if we can get it full speed. I mean, very little time to react there for the 01, and especially once you get, let's say, brake pedal input, you add a little bit more to try and avoid a car, and these front tires just lock up right on you, and you are sliding into whatever you're looking at, and that is exactly what happened there. So we head back up to the front here under our 4th caution of the night. So if I was a betting man now, I would definitely say Max Theriault will take the inside lane on this restart. We'll have to see what kind of restart he can get, as last time it was a great restart on this inside lane. We'll see if he can do another one. This time though, he has the advantage of being the control car on the restart. He can determine when he wants to fire, whenever that, I believe that iRacing pace car heads down pit road. I'm pretty sure this place does not have a restart zone with it being a short track. At the line, Theriault will keep that 42 machine down low, so he will in fact select that inside lane to restart. Everyone else will double file on up, and we will try it again here at now the Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway. So lights are off on the iRacing pace car. It will make the hard left-hand turn once again down into pit road. Max Theriault, the control truck here. He will wait for it, and once again, a late start, but a good one. Not too much tire spin. The 61 machine of Williamson having a great start too. He's able to keep to the left rear quarter panel of Skelton. Battles side by side here into turn number 3 for second. Williamson down low, Skelton up top here. Give the advantage at the stripe to Skelton by pretty much nothing. They will go through 1 and 2 here. Williamson having the shorter distance, so he will be a little bit better through the corners, where Skelton is better on his top side, his corner exit. Williamson just has to know he has to hit his marks here, not make any sort of big mistakes, let's say, and not light up those rear tires, and he should be able to eventually get around Skelton. But one guy loving what he's seeing in the rear view, that is Max Theriault. We'll ride on board looking back at this battle for second here. As Theriault running some great laps here, last time by an 18.67, but that's because he's not running side by side like the cars behind him still. As Theriault right there saying, it is go time. I'm going to try and create some distance with the guys behind me. Finally single filing on out as Theriault last time by best lap of the session with that 18.57. So now we'll have to see how much does Skelton push to at least catch Theriault, because he had to use up probably a good bit of tires to hang to the outside of Williamson for that amount of laps. Further on back, we see Ethan Troutman and Rob Higgins go side by side here. Troutman down low, Rob Higgins to the outside. And the other Higgins further on back, that is Bob Higgins in this 30 machine. He is also in a side-by-side battle. He is battling that 01 machine of Richard Murdoch. As 01 car out of sorts on the backstretch. Once again, Ryan O'Danny will loop that car. Looks like this time just get a piece of the inside wall, able to get that car back rolling. And we stay green flag racing, but you will have to hope for a yellow in the short future, because he is very close to going a lap down for sure, within half a track. Here we go, battling inside of the top 10. Peyton Johnson will in fact get around Chris Hammett, so that moves Hammett back into P number 10. Now Tim Combs might try and take advantage of a vulnerable number 6 machine, but it looks like Hammett falling back into a rhythm here, gonna try and hang on to this top 10 spot here for the number 6. Further up front here, Williamson starting to feel some pressure from now the number 2 machine of Trevarthen. I got to race a little bit with Trevarthen on the short track side of things in a different league, and I tell you what, he is no cakewalk to try and get around or keep at bay when it comes to some short track races. I think if we get a chance to talk to him later tonight, I'm sure he'll definitely say the same, as he is now putting the pressure on this 61 machine for that 3rd position. We ride on board, got a helmet cam riding on board with this number 2 machine of Michael Trevarthen. Let's take a look at the lap times as you see him working that wheel off of turn number 4. Got a little bit loose, and that's all it takes, just a split second early on the gas or a little bit too much, as now we see Williamson get a piece of, get very loose, and Trevarthen get a piece of the wall. You can see kind of the different lines. Williamson a little bit higher arc but a lower exit, just trying to get that car to eventually walk down the bank, and whereas Trevarthen a little bit shallower in, but able to kind of dime in the corner to try and get that straight run off, trying to keep a short distance around the speedway, but also keep that right front on it, because with that shallower line, you're using less wheel angle for less amount of time, let's say, because that's the only time you're putting in wheel input. Everything else is trying to walk it back straight, let's say. Whereas if we walk with Williamson here, you can see that wheel a little bit more to the left a little bit sooner as he tries to walk it in a little bit longer, and you see kind of drive it down towards the apex on corner exit. You can see him really working this wheel. This car definitely not handling the best for Williamson, as you see a lot of shaking going on corner exit. But if you get shaken at any point on the speedway, that's where you want it. That means you're pushing this car to the edge and working it every single lap, which I as a driver like to see. That time by Max Theriault saw the cross flags. That's right, folks. It is already halfway down, halfway to go here tonight at Kern County. Theriault qualified on pole. We'll see. We'll have the race lead at the halfway point. Hasn't led everything, as Skelton and Williamson both led some laps here coming into tonight, but it is still anyone's race. All it takes is one guy to get big time loose, like we saw Josh Buckley there get loose off of turn number 2, bring out a yellow and blow this whole race wide open. Payne Johnson now putting the pressure on Sean Single. Single will let him go, so that puts Johnson now up 13 spots into P number 8. Another driver trending in the right direction is this number 6 machine, as right when we go to him gets a little bit loose off of turn number 4, but Chris Hammett up 6 spots as we do get this yellow flag here that I talked about that would throw everything up and over, as we see the 3 machine of Tony Strano getting that car up to speed. We'll see what happened to Strano here, I believe, on the front stretch. So the Victory Junction number 3 machine into turns 3 and 4 looks all right. And it looks like they're just the back end steps on around a little bit too quick for that steering wheel to catch, and Strano will slide to a stop on the front stretch, and that will definitely bring out a yellow flag. But now we head to another busy pit road. Everyone down on pits. We'll see who pulls some strategy here. I don't think we'll see anyone take 2, but if someone was a gambling man, we may see it, as it looks like Theriault will lead the race off of pit road. Skelton 3rd. Ken Allen, here we go, folks. This is what I like to see. Ken Allen with the strategy call. He elects to take 2 in this 87 machine. That puts him up to P number 3 on this restart. It'll be interesting to see how this car feels, because usually these trucks build very tight in a hurry, but this setup seems pretty loose here at Kern County. So you slap on only right sides, that means they're cold. Left sides are worn, so this thing should be even a little bit looser. We'll see if Ken Allen can hang on to it, but I like the strategy call, especially if you're outside the top 15, just to at least get some track position. So we complete lap 82 here tonight under the 5th yellow flag here. So only a couple, and it seems like it's the old Darrell Waltrip saying cautions breed cautions, as every time we've had one after a little bit of green flag racing, we almost get another one right after. So we'll see if this trend keeps up here for the 5th yellow of the night. As the lights will go out around the speedway here. Once again, Max Terrio electing to take the inside lane here. It looks like of the 21 that started, 19 cars out on the racing surface still. Only winners so far this season on the front row here. That is right, Skeleton winning week number 1 with the next gen cars at Phoenix. Last week we saw Max Terrio with the Rockingham with the Xfinity cars. So they will see who can go for number 2 if it in fact is one of them. As we go back, green flag racing here. These two will dive it down here in turn number 1. Side by side for 4th, as almost 3 wide there, as Eric Stout will try and throw it in there. We'll think better of it as Ken Allen trying to hang on to as many positions as he can with this 2-tire call. I like to see it, so we're going to keep the camera on this 82 machine. As wow, some contact there as Allen and Terrio, or Trevarthen, excuse me. A little bit of trading paint here, some more trading paint now as Eric Stout forces his way to the top side. Stout having to go a long way around the speedway, so we'll lose some time. I'm sure that makes the 12 not the happiest camper, as Ken Allen doing a great job so far defending with these old tires up in the top 5, but seeing a lot of pressure on behind him. Right behind these guys, we see a little side-by-side battle. That is Josh Buckley and Jeffrey Souza, as it looks like they sort each other out. Looks like Buckley will get the spot now. Here comes Stout once again, this time on the inside lane. That puts Ken Allen on the top side. One car going around off of turn number 2. That is the 13 machine of Josh Buckley. Was having a great run here, but will be our 6th yellow flag here, as he will spin it off of turn number 2. Probably just getting after it just a little bit too much, just pushing that truck, trying to get on around maybe Ken Allen, looking, oh, it's contact actually, as Buckley was maybe trying to go to the low side and follow Stout. And I believe the 4 car of Jeffrey Souza gets into the back of him. As yeah, right there, folks, you see Souza into the back of Buckley. So Buckley, in fact, getting a lot of help here, and that'll put him all the way at the tail here. A tough break for Buckley. So we find ourselves under the 6th yellow here. 90 laps in the books, only 60 to go here tonight. So we've seen a lot of, 1-2 car incidents. We haven't had a big one yet. I don't want to jinx anything, but as this race continues to get closer to the end, I think we'll see a little bit less give and a lot more take. So we'll have to see if this trend of kind of yellows after yellows keeps up, because at some point the pin is going to be pulled on the grenade, and these drivers further on back know they got to make some moves to get up to the front. As once again, got to give a huge amount of props to these guys coming out here each and every week. Not only do they go to different tracks, but alternating different cars throughout the series. It takes a very diverse and skilled guy to walk away with a championship, put it all together, and that's what these guys try and do each and every season. As here we go, lights are out on the iRacing pace car. So next time by, we'll be going back to green flag racing here for the Checkered Flag Auto Supplies Red Light Racing Scrambler Series. Through 3 and 4, the field will come. 6th restart of the night underway. Max Terriel leading the way. Here it looks like Skelton gets away with an okay jump on the top side. We'll have to sail it on in there, as it looks like Dalton Williamson able to fill the gap, as Williamson big time loose off of turn number 2, somehow able to hang on to that truck there, as now Skelton will try and fill in that hole. It looks like he will, as now Michael Trevarthen with a big run on the top side. He will now look to the inside, a little crossover move there going into turn number 1. Williamson able to defend on the top side here, so no real changes yet in the top 5, staying the same from how they restarted. One guy lost one spot, that is Ken Allen to Peyton Johnson. Johnson looking to go in the top 5 for the first time here tonight with about 50 to go. There's one guy that wants to see yellow after yellow and be able to put on a new set of tires. That is this 81 machine of Ken Allen. If he can, hang on to about this spot, be able to slap on 4 fresh tires with everyone else, he definitely gained some time in the track position department with only taking 2. But right now on the high side, gonna have to really work that car to try and mitigate as many spots lost as possible. Out in front, Max Terriel leading the way over James Skelton. Terriel trying to check out in front, but doesn't quite have the advantages last time, as Skelton and Williamson figured out their running order much quicker than last time around. You're just inside of the top 10. We see Ethan Troutman in the 62 machine drive around Ken Allen, so Allen might be falling outside of the top 10 here with that 2-tire strategy. He's got to hope for a yellow, within the next 10 laps or so. So that gives him a nice 40-lap run to the finish. As here we see the 13 machine of Josh Buckley involved with that last yellow. Had to start from the back, already back up to 13th, now trying to make it 12th as he tries to go around the 17 machine of Tim Combs. So Combs up top, Buckley down low. One car with some, not sure who that was, maybe loose out on the speedway, as maybe the 31 machine of Donald Bennett, as it looks like Buckley not able to get around Combs, so now Buckley has to keep the 40 machine of Rob Higgins at bay. Further on back, Tony Strano under fire. That's right, under fire from, looks like the 4 machine of Jeffrey Souza. Souza, though, last pitted on 92, so I think a little bit of different tire strategy for the 4 machine, but you do see that right side damage right in the door number, so you got to wonder how much is this truck hurting in the handling department. Maybe getting some repairs to that number 4 machine, because I'm sure that is not helping the feeling of this race truck at all. But still able to get around some guys. Now Souza gonna try and go around the long way around the 40 machine of Rob Higgins. Higgins down low in the number 40 Kubota machine. Souza up top. Souza will in fact get clear with the stint analyzer number 4. Up in front though, battle heating up for P number 3, as we're getting ourselves maybe a 4-car battle here before we know it for P number 3. Leading the way is Williamson, then Trevarthen, second car in this group, third car in this group Eric Stout, and then Peyton Johnson running right back there in that lime green number 15 machine back in 6th. So between all these guys, it could be anyone's race for a podium shot here tonight, because this time by we get up to lap 110. That's right, only 40 laps to go here tonight at the Kern County Speedway. Last time by, Trevarthen just a smidge faster than Williamson, but both of them faster than the cars behind. So maybe Johnson and Stout pushed a little bit too hard at the beginning. As here we go, Trevarthen looking to the inside, as I believe Brandon Feeney having a little bit of incident somewhere out on track. Feeney, in fact, getting that 38 machine roll, but you can see very slowly down the backstretch, he will go at least one lap down. As I assume he'll bring that thing. No, he's going to get it up to speed, so I like to see it. He will be the car eligible for a lucky dog if we get one more yellow. Here we see a battle for P number 10, so Richard Murdoch back up in the top 10 as he gets around Ken Allen in the 81 machine for 11th. Remember, Allen only took 2 tires that last stop, I believe, running right around where he pitted before, if not still a little bit better. So still working out in the positive. He's just got to hope that we do in fact get another yellow before it's all said and done. As I hear some tires squealing somewhere, it looks like everyone keeping the cars all right. So someone must have just had a nice drift down the front stretch, but out in front, Max Terrill able to get a 1 1/4 second advantage over James Skelton. Skelton running in that second spot. Remember, top 2 have both already won once this season. Both of them already locked in the playoffs. Third on back looking for their first time win this season in their way to lock themselves into the playoff. But right now they are battling amongst themselves as Trevarthen still keeping a ton of pressure to Dalton Williamson. So with about 30 to go, I'm going to go turn it on over. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing my voice, and we're going to do some turn 3, turn it up, everyone's favorite. I'll take a break from talking and let you listen to the sounds of some sweet race cars around Kern County. Head back up here. Pretty good battle here between quite a few cars here. We saw him get very diced up trying to go around Ken Allen, as Allen definitely doesn't have the pace as the cars around him, as that 2-tire stop was a great thought in theory, but with it going green to the end, not looking like the right call. We saw Josh Buckley big time sideways there off of turn number 2 for that 13 machine. Once again, a little bit loose, so Buckley gonna have to back it on down for at least a couple laps here, cool off that right rear, but that's gonna be very difficult to do because right behind him he has Tim Combs and Rob Higgins as well. As one car out of sorts in the top 5, that is Eric Stout. Stout now falls back to 6th, maybe 7th, as here comes Chris Hammett on the top side. So Hammett trying to work around the long way on the top side of Stout. Stout's got to be careful on this inside lane, not only because it's very difficult to get off on its own, but he has that right rear tire probably pretty hot, so he has got to have some patience getting on that loud pedal. Looks like he does, but losing 2 spots there to the trucks around him. Inside of 25 to go for the 42 machine. Here for 3rd, kind of cooling on off as Trevarthen's still holding the pressure, but Williamson doing a great job at not looking at that mirror, making sure he hits his marks every single lap and keeping that 2 at bay for the time being. Oh, you see there Williamson getting a little bit loose off of the corner. That could have maybe opened up a bigger door for Trevarthen if he really wanted to force an issue, but still with over 20 to go, I would say it's still a little bit too early to be forcing issues, especially if he can start smelling blood like Trevarthen is. Here we go, folks, side by side down the backstretch, as it looks like Williamson knows his truck can't take too much more, as he will concede that 3rd position to Trevarthen. Now Trevarthen's going to try and drive away from the 61 machine, make sure Peyton Johnson can't join in the battle before he knows it. And at least with 20 to go, what a drive by Peyton Johnson, up 16 spots from where he started. First time we see the 15 machine in the top 5. I know he'll be excited with that result if he can hang on to this after not the qualifying effort he wanted. If he did in fact try and do a qualifying lap, maybe use some strategy to start in the back and let things sort themselves out, but either way, heck of a job from this 15 machine driving up through the field. Further on back, battle for a top 10 finish. This is the battle for 10th. Richard Murdoch up top in the 01 machine. Jeffrey Souza down low. Souza trying to wheel this ill-handling race car, and on the difficult inside lane, looks like Murdoch able to defend on the top side, but here 1 and 2, it seems like if you can hit the right line on that bottom side and really wrap that corner, man, can you get a run off if you don't break that rear traction. Side by side they go, a drag race to the line. Murdoch will get a piece of the wall. This should allow Souza to get on by. Souza will sail it in there on the bottom side, get clear, so Souza back in the top 10 here. Murdoch just outside of it here with 16 laps to go. This time by Max Theriault, we'll see 15 to go. This guy does not want to see a yellow because he has almost a 3-second advantage over second of Skelton. Trevarthen now up into 3rd. 4th, hanging on to it, is Dalton Williamson. Then back in 5th is Peyton Johnson, who is now feeling the pressure for Chris Hammett. Here comes Hammett with a late race push here. Hammett, I believe, trying to get into the top 5 for the first time here tonight in the 6 machine. Both of these guys up double digits from where they started. Hammett up 10 spots. Of course, we just got done talking a little bit ago about Johnson up 16 spots. So both these guys moving in the right direction from the drop of the green flag. Now they're going to battle it out, see who can finish better of the 2 of them. Hammett gets a run. He'll dive it down to the inside, sailed in there deep, back it up for the middle of the corner. Now who can be the first to put the power down? Both of them a little bit of tire spin, but not too big where they have to pedal it. Johnson able to defend on the top side, but we did see him get loose. How many more times can he defend top side as Hammett tried to find a way to the top side of Johnson? Nothing doing there. It's once again very loose for that 15 machine leading the way. So Johnson definitely starting to struggle with rear tire grip. Hammett can smell blood. The question is, can he do anything? All these cars, you know, very worn out, tires begging for mercy, but with 10 to go, you are pushing absolutely everything you have into these race cars, just trying to get these things around the speedway 10 more times as quickly as possible. Oh, as Ethan Troutman big time sideways there off of turn number 4. He was just catching the back side of this, but now Trout right on the back bumper of Troutman, as Troutman is almost in striking distance of here, as Hammett once again on the charge. He will try again here in 3 and 4. We saw last time. Oh, as Hammett gets big time sideways, he will spin it on out down low and bring out our 7th yellow flag here tonight inside of 10 laps to go. That is right, folks. We are going to have a shootout. And what do you do with strategy? As we take a look here, saw it live. We'll see it one more time here through 3 and 4 as Chris Hammett will just get on the power a little bit too early. That back end of that 6 machine just step on out with too much wheel. He was, of course, putting in that much wheel just to stay off of the guy to his outside. So Terrill down on pit road for the final time. Who is going to be the one to stay out? And I have a feeling they saw how good it worked for Ken Allen. We'll probably see a lot of takers with 4 tires. So everyone on the lead lap down on pit road. Here's going to be the money stop, folks. Who is going to win the race off of pit road? Terrill, right side's up, right side's down, left side's going up on the 42 machine. No 2 tire for him. Dalton Williamson with the 2 tires. He will be the leader coming off to green flag, as he will just beat Terrill off of pit road. Looks like Skelton will come off 3rd, Trevarth in 4th, Peyton Johnson in 5th. So it looks like no one else with a strategy call besides Dalton Williamson. Williams says, you know what? It takes a win to lock into the playoffs. That's exactly what we're going to risk here. He's going to lay all the chips on the table. He's going all in as he takes a 2 tire stop. Rest of the field taking 4 fresh Goodyear tires. As here we go. Sorry, we still get 2 to go, so it will almost be a green white checkered here. So this is what Williamson wants to see. He wants to see as many laps as he can. Click on down under this yellow flag. So this is going to be a game changer here. A little flip in the field. Williamson on the alternate strategy. I like the call because, as you know, with this playoffs, a win and you're automatically locked in. Here we go, folks. Lights are out on the pace car. First attempt at a green white checkered here tonight. It's gonna, I believe, be an organic one, so it won't count against the green white checkered counter, but it will be one nonetheless. Dalton Williamson will elect the high side. He's gonna hope to hang on to that 61 machine and be able to put the power down on 2 tires. Rest of the field on 4. Terrill had a huge advantage. All that got erased with the 7th yellow. Here we go, folks, into the restart zone. Williamson on the loud pedal, a little bit of tire spin as Terrill able to shoot out of a cannon into the race lead. Terriel now leads the way down the backstretch. Skelton able to get third from Williamson. Williamson back to where he started here, and he's going to see a lot of guys around him as he's trying to hang on to that race car. 3 wide, 1 lap to go. It's the Feeney Call white flag here as they are wrecking into turn number 1. Williamson goes on around. We stay green because we're racing back to the line here. Through 3 and 4, the field will come for the final time, and Max Terriel makes it 2 in a row at Kern County. Skelton will come home second, and Peyton Johnson, where did this guy come from? We'll finish in third. We'll be talking to all of them before it's said and done. But what heartbreak there with the alternate strategy. He goes around on the white flag lap, but man, one guy that can't be more relieved will be this 42 machine of Max Terriel. As we see Terriel bring it down pit side. So folks, we're gonna be back here in just 1 second to talk to our top 3. Don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we come back here at Kern County with the Claws Up Charters post-race show. First guy we'll be talking to is our 3rd place finisher, the biggest mover of the night. That is Peyton Johnson. Peyton, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself? How you feeling with that crazy green-white checker there at the end?
I mean, from starting at the tail end of the field to getting a 3rd place, very happy with the day. Hate that I got into Richard in that one wreck early on, just kind of met at the wrong spot, and 100% my fault. But all in all, a good race. Got lucky with a couple people taking 2 tires, was able to get around them. Had nothing for the guys in front of me, but had some good pace, passed a few cars, had a good time.
Yeah, like you started off with, Peyton, you passed quite a few cars. I believe by the end of this one, you passed a whopping 18 cars from where you started. I mean, that is impressive of its own, but you throw in this car track setup with the setup itself underneath the car, and it seemed like it was a handful from the drop of the green flag as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I bought the track right before I logged in, so I'd never had seen it. Had no clue what I was getting myself into. Spent most of the practice doing the jump there in turn 1, so kind of didn't know what to expect, but it drives a lot like a Richmond or an Iowa, and I have a lot of really good experience there, and so enjoyed it, had fun. It was a handful for sure.
Yeah, that it seemed like. As I gotta ask, did you elect to start at the back here, or did qualify not go the way you wanted to?
No, whenever we transitioned from practice to qualifying, something happened with my iRacing, and I had to actually restarted my computer, shut down my computer, and I made it back in with 6 seconds left to grid. So
Wow.
almost started from the pits before this race.
Wow, yeah, luckily you were able to get on into the race and not only do the race, but walk away with a podium. I bet you feel so much better than the way this race started here tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, totally from not thinking I was going to make the grid to, ending up in third place. Definitely couldn't ask for a better night.
Yeah, that is definitely awesome to see. Well, while we got you, looking forward in the schedule, I mean, what tracks do you kind of look forward to most, or maybe what cars? Is a great run out of short track, do you kind of prefer the short tracks, let's say?
Anything that's technical and where you got to use the brake, I feel like I'm pretty good at. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, any of the mile and a halves, anything with the B car, really. I can't wait to drive that. I know we got Kentucky coming up. That should be a good track. Martinsville is going to be kind of crazy. Wish we had the love of my life, Darlington, on there, but it's not on this season. But we'll do the best we can with all these remaining tracks. Dreading Circuit of the Americas, and hopefully if I can make the playoffs, Worldwide Technology, which drives kind of similar to this, should be a good track for me.
Yeah, that is sure. That place, of course, very long straightaways, but kind of these sweeping turns and whatnot. But here with these turns, even though these corners look the same, I assume you had to drive this track very differently, because it seemed like it was very much a struggle if you didn't hit turn 2 right to get off that corner and put the power down.
Yeah, I felt like turns 1 and 2 were better for me. 3 and 4, getting the power down on the front. The way it was cambered a little bit, I had more trouble. I mean, I almost snapped loose at the start finish line one time. So definitely two different exits. So happy that it's over. Happy we got out of there with a third place finish. Couldn't really ask for more.
Yeah, I tell you what, a awesome finish for this 15 machine. And Peyton, I gotta ask, first time up here in the booth, I believe, and with that, I always like to ask, what's your sim setup like? What do you got for wheel pedals, and maybe what are you looking at?
All right, so I running with the Sim Magic Alpha direct drive base with the MPI wheel on it, 14-inch. Got the Husingveld Sprints, triple 2K monitors, Fanatec shifter, and a Apex Sim Racing dash.
Alrighty, well, awesome stuff there, Peyton. I'm sure that is a definitely nice setup. Those wheelbases always seem like they do pretty well for what they are.
It can be a workout, man. Those wheelbases are strong. I keep it turned down because I'm getting old and fat, so cranking that wheel with all that force feedback in it's tough to do sometimes.
Exactly, especially 150 laps at the Kern County Speedway. How are you feeling after that?
Good, good. I had it turned down, had it all set up right, so it worked out well.
Well, that's good. Luckily, that computer crash didn't affect any of those settings, or else would have probably been a lot different race for you. But before we let you go and celebrate a podium here tonight, Payne, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank, either on the 15 car or maybe someone watching at home.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. You, anybody in Turn 3 Network, I got a sticker of you guys sitting right here in the back of my chair. Love Roger, love you guys. Love watching the broadcast back. You do a great job. Thanks to the league admins for putting on a great league. Thanks to Sean Single for letting me by. When in the middle of the race. Really, just this league is a great league. Got good, clean racers. I hate that I turned Richard earlier in the race, but really enjoy racing here. And thanks to Feeney for being Canadian too.
Good shout out there at the end. Well, Payne, a pleasure talking to you here tonight. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you again in the future at another short track, let's say. But you have yourself a great rest of the night, and hopefully, you can continue this momentum.
For sure. Thanks. Have a good one.
Alrighty, folks, that was our third place finisher, Peyton Johnson. Now we head over to our runner-up finisher, have been talking to him a lot this season. That is, of course, I believe the 86 machine of James Skelton. Will get him out here, and there we go. So Skelton might have to wait a second longer while we get everything. There we go. Got the video all synced up, so we'll get a word with the 86 machine of James Skelton. James, you got a copy of Spread the Jet in the booth here.
Copy.
Alrighty, man. We have been talking to you a lot this season. Another podium for you here and a second place finish. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was eventful. Never seen the track until today. Put a little practice in right before the official practice went up. It felt completely different from practice, so I had to kind of relearn everything. I thought I found something early on that first stint, and then Max found something even better. And I mean, I smoked my tires the last 2 runs, and I was just holding on for dear life. So to get a P2, just good for the points. It was a really fun track, and hopefully come out there again.
Yeah, hopefully, man, as another solid effort. You know, this is the third different car we've seen you, and I want to say, feels like for sure we've been talking to you every week, if not most weeks. I mean, how do you put it together at these different car track combos to not only come out here and, you know, run decent, but run really good on top of that, you know, talking with me afterwards?
No, yeah, I appreciate it. I feel like, for the most part, I'm a pretty balanced driver, and I can, depending on what, vehicle we get in, I do pretty decent. The truck's typically probably my worst one, just with the power, and it's usually a tight setup, and that doesn't really fit my style as much. This was actually a really loose setup, and even though it did come with P2, I don't know how the other guys were, but I mean, I was struggling mightily at the end just with rear grip. So I don't know. I usually put some time in. I'm usually good on the long runs, and it usually helps me out, week after week, no matter what track we go to.
Yeah, and this place seemed very tough, let's say, when it came to getting off of turn number 2. I mean, how did you navigate that? Not only out there running side by side, as I believe you and Williamson there, quite a bit of laps side by side for a little bit at one point.
Yeah, for sure. I preferred running one lane up, and then early on, I mean, the truck did have some pretty good grip. You just had to really make sure with throttle input just to not. It's really like at that 3/4 mark on both corners. It just wanted to just turn around, so you just kind of had to try to get a good angle, a little bit of a diamond, and just watch your throttle inputs. But early on, it was really fun to drive, and then on the back end, thank goodness I was by myself because I was just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, and then to add a little bit of chaos there at the end of this one, a green-white checkered. I mean, what was going through your mind knowing lining up with one car in front of you there with the only 2 sets of tires with the rest of you guys on 4?
Yeah, for sure. Thank goodness Dalton took the outside because I would have been a sitting duck on the bottom and wouldn't have had a good restart. And Trevarthen and all the other guys on the top side would have made some good ground. So I really appreciate him going to the top. My teammate asked me when we were going on pit road if 2 was an option, and I said absolutely not. I need as much new rubber as possible just for grip. And I was actually really really close on fuel. I was during that run at one point I was 2 laps short. So I was holding on for dear life and trying to save fuel, but I think I would have been okay because my lap times were falling off so much. I was barely in the gas, so it would have been close. But it was really 50-50. I'm really surprised everybody pitted since we only had to go 2 laps. I'm surprised, a few trucks didn't stay out. But once Max went, I went. Thank goodness everybody else did, so I can put a little fuel in there and 4 tires.
Yep, and once again, another podium for you, James. So congrats on that. Hopefully, I'm sure keeping the momentum rolling as next week we head to Pocono with the next gen. And of course, next gen, you picked up your last win there. How do you feel around Pocono?
Yeah, Pocono used to be probably one of my least favorite tracks. It's definitely grown on me over the years, and especially the next gen. I think the next gen's my favorite one to drive right now. For whatever reason, I just feel um, I I have good pace early on, and then I can save the tires, and I enjoy the shifting in the car. It is underpowered, but it is fun to race. So I'll definitely make sure I can put some more time in this week. I didn't put, like I said, I didn't put any time in this week and just kind of winged it, and it came out all right. But Pocono is a different beast. You don't want to get behind early. It is usually tough to pass. But we'll see how it goes. Definitely excited.
Yeah, for sure, James. We're excited to see what that 86 machine can do next week. But this week, we'll hand over the mic to you for one last time here tonight at Kern County and let you thank who you got to thank either on this 86 machine or who could be tuning in at home.
For sure. Got to thank you, Brett, for doing the broadcast. I'll definitely check it out tonight. I've definitely enjoyed you. It's a little bit different. We're so used to Roger, but I think you've done an awesome job coming in. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks to Checkered Flag Auto Supply for the sponsorship. Turn 3 Racing, like I said, for everything you guys do. I think Feeney, he does a lot of sponsorship, and a lot of the other guys. Thanks for all the guys coming out. It was actually a pretty good race, pretty clean race for us never being there and being a short track. All the fans that were watching, love supporting my wife's work, Flowertown Animal Hospital. Actually, no, I think I came as boats on my truck. So that's the bass boat that I don't know if you know, but I do a ton of bass fishing, and that's the boat that I have is the brand that I have. So I love supporting them. So I came as boats on the truck tonight, and then like I said, when I can have the wife's business on there, Flowertown Animal Hospital. And like I said, all the fans, and I'll see everybody next week.
Alrighty, James. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here sometime in the future. So, once again, have a great night, and I'm sure we'll catch you on the flip side here.
10-4, thanks again, Brett. See you.
Alrighty, folks. That was our runner-up finisher, James Skelton, in the number 86 machine. Now we'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour, going 2 in a row. It is the 42 machine of Max Terriel. Max, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yes, I got you.
Alrighty, man. That had to be a little bit more stressful than you would have liked. Tell us a little bit about your race and then that wild green-white checkered.
Yeah, taking 4 tires at the end definitely paid off. Just for the restart, that's what I felt that we all needed to get the launch, and 2 tires on the outside didn't work for Dalton. So, yeah, was clear in 1, and from there on, it was just about hanging on corner exits, and that was it for the end. And maybe a few too many cautions, but that last one at the end, yeah, it was a bit short on fuel. Of course, it helped, but I may have had enough to save for 2 or 3 laps, but who knows? At least it worked in the end.
Yeah, it did worked out great for you, picking up your second win in a row. And I tell you what, it seemed like the only times you weren't leading the field to green, the other guy picked the outside, and both times you got amazing restarts on the inside, just reacting to the guy on the outside. Do you think that inside lane was at least where to restart, even though you could maybe defend a little bit better on the top?
I think it played out more on the apex of 1 and 2 and on the exits. If you could maintain good speed on the outside, there's a 1 or 2 restarts where they got me and I couldn't do anything because I couldn't drift up from the bottom to the top in turn 2. But it definitely helped that there was no restart zone, so the leader didn't have as much an advantage as most cup races we go to with the restart zone. So that was the biggest difference for the second place car all night long.
Yeah, that definitely seemed to be the difference. But Max, 2 kind of similar tracks, let's say, both kind of on the shorter side of things. Last week at Rockingham, this week at Kern. Next week we head to one of the biggest tracks on the schedule. That's Pocono. How do you feel about that place?
Yeah, I've got some work to do. I've never been that good at Poconos, especially since we got the repaved version. That turn 3, still have to figure out, especially on the long run, how to save tires there. And then turn 1, we go in so fast that the braking point and the entry point are very critical. Otherwise, you lose a lot of speed on the corner exit. And since it's a very long stretch, then you lose a lot of momentum. going in the short shoot. So yeah, we'll have to put some work into it, and but at least we have a cushion that we can try some things out.
Yep, already locked into the playoffs, Max, with the win last week. This one just adding to that win column, now 2 in a row. And I'm sure we will probably see you for sure in the podiums coming on up in the near future. As Max, once again, huge congrats here from Kern County picking up the win. Before we let you go and continue celebrating down in victory lane, I got to hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for picking up now 2 in a row.
Yeah, thank you, Brett. Gotta thank my fiance, my friend Max, and my dad. Always watching on Turn 3 broadcast Mondays and Thursdays. Josh, James, and Richard for running this Monday Night Scrambler series. Checkered Flag Auto Supply with the title sponsor. And yeah, this Kern Speedway, Kern Raceway, that was the first time that I've ever raced on it. Quite a fun track. It's short, but relatively fast for how we compared to other half miles. And we had some throttle control for once with trucks. They didn't bog down too much. So that was fun to race. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week at Pocono.
Alrighty, Maxwell, once again, huge congrats on the win here tonight. Go on and celebrate it, and we'll see you next week at Pocono. Have a good one.
Thank you, man.
Alrighty, folks, that was Max Terrio picking up win number 2 in a row. So let's get everyone out of here at a decent time and run through tonight's finishing results with and wrap up this Claws Up Charters post race show. Max Terrio picking up the win here tonight. James Skelton in second. Peyton Johnson rounding out the top 3. Finishing in 4th is the 62 machine of Ethan Troutman. 5th going to the 11 of Sean Single. 6th will be the 2 machine of Michael Trevarthen. 7th is the 4 of Jeffrey Souza. Finishing in P number 8 is Tim Combs in the 17 machine. Then behind him in the 6th, that is Chris Hammett finishing 9th. And rounding out the top 10 will be the 01 machine of Richard Murtaugh. 11th going to the 81 machine of Ken Allen. 12th is the 40 of Rob Higgins. 13th will be the 30 machine of Bob Higgins. 14th is the 3th Tony Strano. And then rounding out the top 15 will be the 38 machine of Brandon Feeney. 16th going to Eric Stout. 17 Dalton Williamson with the tough break. Tried those tires, did not work out in the end. Ended up in that wreck. I think one more time we might need to take a look at that at the white flag here. 18th going to the 13 of Josh Buckley. 19th is Ryan O'Danny. 20th is Donald Bennett. 21st is Roger Muth. That will do it for the finishers here. We'll take a look one last time here in the Claws Up Charters post-race show at the incident. I think it was just 3 wide race and just running out of room on the front stretch as they dive down back into turn number 1 as Trevarthen just trying to keep that car off the wall. They make contact going into turn number 1, not sure where to judge the cars around him, and luckily everyone kind of keeping it in the right direction, and Stout almost goes, he will go on around as everyone else tries to make evasive maneuvers on the white flag lap. But yeah, of course, got to thank all the series sponsors make this happen. That, of course, being Checkered Flag Auto Supplies, Celeratus Legal, the Feeney Call, and Claws Up Charters. I have been Brett the Jet from Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to check out Turn 3 throughout the week as we have a lot of great racing, a lot of great series to cover. You won't want to miss it. And you saw a little bit with our partnership. That's right, we are partnered up with Premier Racing Setups. If you need some setups for some official open series, be sure to check them out. They provide all setups for all aspects of racing. You'll find out a little bit more after the commercial here tonight. Once again, I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and be sure to tune in next week as these drivers try and wrangle the next-gen cars around Pocono Speedway. Everyone take care, stay safe, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.